All right, so I made a previous video talking about the issues with Death Note, especially the second half of it. This video, on the other hand, will be focusing more on the solutions that I subjectively think would have made the second part of this series much better. One issue as to why Death Note did not end very well was because of how the main character was handled. That opened the door to all the nonsense in part 2 happening. Don't get me wrong, Light was generally handled well as a character, but the main issue is that the depths of his character is not really explored. When looking back at Light Yagami, you come to the realization that Light is a very sadistic and detached person. I mean, even before he gets the Death Note, or before he even gets to really using its power, there's clear signs of his disinterest not only in life, but for many other people in general. I have no problems with him becoming this type of character over time, but it's never really explained why he's like this to begin with. And the fact that he starts like this, it's kind of weird. He's seen as this sheltered genius, but that's really all there was to his character. He seemingly does not care much for his family or have any interest in actually spending time with them or talking to them. Part of this can't really be blamed on him, as his family seemingly only cares about him doing well in school and don't really care about his free time or anything like that. He's stated to be apparently popular, but we don't see him really have any friends or spend time with anyone else around his age. And when he does, it's all for manipulative purposes. In the few instances where he's asked to hang out with other peers, he shows complete disinterest in doing so. He doesn't really even have any hobbies outside of studying. The closest thing to a hobby was how he mentioned that he used to play tennis in the past during his tennis match with L. His apparent isolation and detachment from his family and many peers is honestly something that could have made him a suspect to being Kira. From the get-go, he does not behave like a regular high schooler, but you get the sense there's something clearly off about him. Like, who the hell gets accustomed to a Shinigami after like 10 seconds of meeting him? Ryuk even comments about how he's surprised that Light is not more shocked about his presence as most people are. I'm bringing all this up to say that these are the elements that part 2 of Death Note should have been more focused on, instead of trying to recapture the former glory of the battle between L and Light with cheap knockoff characters like Nier. Why was Light bored in the first place? Why is he so detached from life already at such a young age? Why does he not relate to so many of his peers? Why does he not spend any time with them? These are questions that are never answered in Death Note that would have done a great job in revealing the depths of Light as a character, which would in turn have made his descent into darkness even more intriguing and understandable. It would have been better if Light had started off much more like a normal high schooler who, because of the wickedness of the Death Note, becomes corrupted not only by the book, but by the evil that lay dormant within, with the Death Note just being a catalyst for that internal wickedness to become more apparent. Another aspect that should have been focused on is the whole becoming the next ruler of the new world thing. With L finally out of the way, they could have had Light focus on creating a tangible plan for becoming the ruler of the world. Maybe he starts by trying to be a complete dictator over Japan and then expands his rule to other countries. With L dead, maybe his next goal is to kill any person that has any knowledge of the Death Note, as he can't afford to have the source of his power revealed to the world. If the social aspect of Light's life was more explored, it could be possible that he manipulates a group of students from his school into helping him achieve his goal of ridding the world of crime. What if these students were people who all agreed with the goal Kira was trying to achieve, and thus they become Kira's ardent followers? What if this group of followers expands to being high-ranking officials in government offices, royal members of countries, influential celebrities, and media members who assist in trying to grow Kira's prominence and rule? Some do it out of respect, while others do it for the sake of not being killed. There's so many avenues that this could have gone down, and it's kind of disappointing that these elements were essentially only mentioned, but never really explored and cultivated outside of people like Mikami and those at Sakura TV. To try and clarify what I'm saying here is that if there were a scale of Light's goals numbered 1 to 10, with 1 being, I don't know, testing out whether or not the Death Note worked, and 5 being killing L, and 10 being the new ruler of the world, all while ridding the world of crime, Light never really made it past 6. After L's death, the rest of the story is essentially Light trying to maintain the facade of being a member of the police force while trying to catch Kira and not get found out, which was essentially what part 1 of Death Note was about. The fact that the story with Light never graduated past this point is disappointing, but this is primarily because as soon as L dies, 2 more random ass detectives pop up out of nowhere and just carry on with L's goal trying to stop and take down Kira, which is incredibly boring and in some ways just invalidates the whole purpose of L dying in the first place. L was supposed to represent the death of any person on Earth who had the intelligence to rival Light, and if Light were to die, it would be because of his own self-destructive tendencies. And that's another subject that could have been the way to finalize the series or have Light die. The whole method of making up a BS way to have Nier win at the end was such an L. Definitely get it, because the series has a character named L. Anyways, what about having Light die by explicitly tying his death up to his ever-growing arrogance? Have him become more and more tainted by the evil of the Death Note as he behaves more recklessly as Kira's prominence grows. Imagine Light starting a war against nations that refuse to align themselves with Kira as he fully tries the extremely difficult task of legitimately trying to become the ruler of the entire Earth, failing in the process as he struggles with who to trust, political and economic instability, as well as the reality of the world he's trying to create. The crazy part about this is that the story was already starting to discuss these hypotheticals as the American president went on air to say that they would no longer oppose Kira. But unfortunately, like I said before, this is not really further explored. Anyways, these are just some of the theories that I had with what could have been done with the series after L, but let me know your own theories down in the comment section below. Leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you're new. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.